fracking. Funny how that works, huh? After he said he wouldn't ban it, but he really did. On video. Now he really will have to ban it in order to reach his climate goals. So all the coal miners he's going to put out, and he's going to put us back in that Paris Climate Accord. It's going to be a dangerous, disastrous mess that he's going to put the United States in, and he doesn't care. Trump tried and failed to ride fears about fracking ban to his second term. Now Biden needs to confront fossil fuels. Donald Trump's desperate attempt to turn fears into fracking ban in Pennsylvania into a winning issue turned out to be a flop. One post-election tally shows that the most heavily fracked counties in the state were not only not swayed by Trump's belligerent fracking rhetoric, but he actually lost ground in most of the areas. I don't believe all that, but we're going to jump. Okay. While the Biden team and some centrist Democrats might feel that the whole issue of fracking was an unwelcome distraction, the success of the president's climate plan relies heavily on what he will do to rein in the fossil fuel drilling. Biden's climate ambitions shifted remarkably over the course of his campaign when he went from keeping activists at arm's length, even telling primary voters who opposed fracking or backed the Green New Deal to choose a different candidate, to announcing a $2 trillion package and sought to achieve carbon-free electricity by 2035 and net zero carbon emissions by 2050. He ain't going to be able to meet that. While he should push those timelines faster, we cannot realistically hit goals if we continue to exact fossil fuels from ground and burn them. Yeah, see, and then I hate reading it because it's so much shitting on Trump and then stroking Biden's ego. It's hard to read this. It's hard to read these things because it's really, their biases really show, and they don't care if they show. They don't give a rat's ass if their bias shows. But they should. Okay, unfortunately, many of Biden's top climate advisors, they are the very people who help shape the country's climate policy, have long careers promoting fossil fuel interests, and have championed fracking, carbon capture, and exporting fracked gas. Ernest Moniz, a close advisor to Biden on climate policy, who could be the next energy secretary, literally wrote the playbook on promoting fracking and a climate-friendly bridge to clean energy. The announcement that Biden had tapped Rep. Cedric Richmond to play a leading role on the administration's climate agenda elicited strong criticism from all corners of climate movement for good reasons. See, they're just not. Biden's going to have to do a lot, and it's going to make a lot of people mad on a lot of sides, or he's not going to do something that's going to make people even more mad on those sides. And it is time for Democrat leaders to fight for the kind of bold climate policies the world needs right now. But see, the America is not the world. America is America, so it's what we should use. Now, we need to quit trying to police the world, but the Democrats will never see it like that. They'll never try to quit being Big Brother. And I don't really think you can blame them, because I sure am tired of trying to be Big Brother to everybody else and their mama. Now, this particular article has to do with Joe Biden and what he's going to do if he's able to pass the gun bills he wants to pass. Biden's gun registration scheme would cost firearm owners billions if passed. Congress and Americans if it's passed, Congress and Americans compiled. Biden's gun control plans have about zero chance of getting through Congress, especially if Republicans win at least one of Georgia's runoffs. That's good, because his bright idea of restricting assault weapons would force America's gun owners to choose between A, giving up millions of their firearms and magazines to federal buyback, and B, registering those guns with the federal government paying billions of dollars in taxes for the privilege. Any guesses of how that would play out in this country? As many readers may be old enough to remember, America had a ban on assault weapons for 10 years. And the article just shuts off. But this is from the National Review. But it's like $200 per gun, $200 per magazine. And if you have multiple, per se, semi-automatic fire rifles. He's going to make you pay out your ass for them. And not to mention, he wants to do a buyback, and after a buyback, they're going to try to make it a mandatory one. They're going to do this, that, the other. They're going to do what they can. Biden made it clear he's coming after our guns, and yet people still put his ass up. I just don't understand that mess, man. Especially when it comes to taxes and this, that, the other, and yet you got people really out here backing Biden. It just doesn't make any fucking sense, man. But maybe it's not supposed to make any sense to me. You know what I'm saying? But that one, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? On that note, I got one left, and this one I think was a good article because it makes a whole lot of sense when the left talks about unity and civility and acceptance and all this other shit that they never ever followed through with the last almost 4 years. But yet they're going to preach it as if they don't remember what they did a month and a half ago with all the screaming and belly aching they did. It's from Fox News. Teen Vogue columnist rejects Biden's call for unity. A columnist published in Teen Vogue offered a grim deception of America and rejects President-elect Biden's repeated calls for unity following the 2020 election. In the piece published on Friday, titled Biden Call for Unity, Doesn't Square with the United States, journalist Candace Mallet declared that the election was too close since abhorrent president-elect Donald Trump still received over 73 million votes despite falling short of the projected victory. She noted how throughout the campaign, Biden positioned himself as a unity candidate, but predicted he would prioritize reaching across the aisle to Republicans while progressive ideas get shafted. Since the election, conservatives have also dismissed Biden's unity message as hopeless misguided. So why are we still acting like we can get along with these people, or will we even want to? Mallet asked. See, even the Democrats realize it's not going to work. Their little game that they want to play. Republicans and conservatives weren't buying that shit. And now they're like, gotta go back to the drawing board because we can't go through with this one. After outlining some discrepancies between the left and the right on police violence and economy, Mallet pivoted towards America's roots, saying the country was founded through the genocide of indigenous peoples and flourished through the enslavement of Africans. At its core, America's values are white supremacy and capitalism. That is true no matter who has been in office, Mallet wrote. Biden's call for a united America boils down to nationalist propaganda. Americans have never been united and have been kept apart and pitted against one another by the state, from geographic segregation to immigration bans and racist policing. The U.S. has privileged the lives and security of some of its residents at the expense of others. Why should people who have been systematically oppressed and who have struggled against the government for true freedom be asked to hold hands with their oppressors? This lady has some serious Trump derangement syndrome. She is nuts. And this is for Teen Vogue. This is what her teens are reading? That's insane. The columnist expressed that she didn't even feel excitement or even safety with Biden's projected victory after the election, but she felt exhausted, forecasting that the next 4 years will be very different from Trump era, but they will still be a battle. Oh, it most definitely will be a battle. Probably won't be as many name callings, this, that, the other. I guarantee you guys won't be getting beat up at protests. But I guarantee you if Trump supporters or Republicans meet for a protest, they're probably going to get greeted by Antifa. And or a group that's not too keen on seeing them. Let's just be 1,000 with that. And it's funny how somebody's going to try to make the United States to be out some just racist place. Just pure evil place. Doesn't matter who's in charge. But yet, she still lives here. It's funny how it's funny. That's funny to me. It's kind of sickening, but it's funny to say the least. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is, I guess. I guess we're going to just have to see how it plays out. What do y'all think about Biden's gun tax? What do you think about his cabinet picks? Definitely a whole lot to be talked about and a whole lot to be left for food for thought, you know what I'm saying? And on that note, I think I'm going to let this one go. And I'm going to let y'all do what you're going to do. Stay safe, stay blazed, stay blessed. Because the ride is going to be a bumpy one. Believe that, players. Believe that.